Good morning. The time is exactly 7 o'clock GMT right here in the studios of Hitzafrik Radio. We are transmitting live in Ghana, www.modernghana.com on the tuning app. Also, we have Hitzafrik Radio. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles at Hitzafrik Radio. This morning is a group of news that we are bringing to you this day. Stay tuned as I bring you the headlines. My name is Abena Ahwinie. Badbin threatens to reject Akufo-Addo's 2021 budget. Allo to Jacobs on who should be Bawumia's running mate 2024. Freddie Blay gave me his blessing to be national chairman. Okonjo-Iweala meets Buhari. Others during first official trip. 8 killed in Atlanta area shooting rampage. These and many other stories we bring your way this morning. Stay tuned as I bring you the news in details. Moving on to here in Ghana in our locality based in the political aspects of it. Badbin threatens to reject Akufo-Addo's 2021 budget. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumani Badbin, has issued a stern warning to communities which will consider the 2021 budget estimate against approving such estimate with the figures offered by the President. The Speaker further disclosed that he will not forward the appropriation bill to the President for his assent when passed if negotiations are not done to find a common ground over the decision by the Presidency to reduce the budgets by Parliament and the judiciary. The budget is not for executive. We have the final power to approve or disapprove, and so what the Constitution has done for them to make recommendations and negotiate during the deliberations of the budget before the House. It is not for the executive to impose a ceiling on the judiciary or Parliament. They have to do the proper thing. And so, during the considerations of the budget estimate, particularly the committees concerned, take that on board and at the end of the day come and explain to us the negotiated figure and not the ceiling that has been given by the President. This is the intentment of the 1992 Constitution. The Speaker of Parliament added, "If you do otherwise, I, as your Speaker, will not affirm any letter for submission to the President for his assent, and I meant what I'm saying." The Speaker's threat comes after President Akufo-Addo decided to slash budget estimates for the judiciary and the legislature. The Speaker, during the presentation of the 2021 budget last Friday, directed the caretaker Finance Minister Osei Mensah Bonsu and the Vice President to convey to the President that any slash in the budget estimate for the two constitutions will not be entertained. In response, President Akufo-Addo, through his Executive Secretary, Nana Asante Beditu, announced to the Speaker a 77 million cedis slash in the estimate presented by the Judiciary and the Judicial Service and over 119 million from the estimate of the legislature. The Presidency cites current economic challenges for the decision. In a sharp rebuttal, the Speaker in a letter dispatched to the Jubilee House indicated that the Constitution bars the Executive from revising estimates presented by the Judiciary and the Legislature since they are equal arms of government. The Speaker cited Articles 179, subsection 3 and 5 and Article 127 of the 1992 Constitution. When the matter returned to the floor, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu hailed the Speaker for the move while arguing that the law is on the side of the Speaker. Majority Leader Osei Bonsu, however, cautioned against the antagonistic posture from Parliament. According to him, the mid-year budget review could cater for the demand by the Speaker. But Honorable Babin returned to reiterate that the Constitution must be respected and ensure that happens. Moving on to other stories, when the small boy Sami Jenfi joined NDC, Koku Enidoko, former Deputy Secretary General of the largest opposition, National Democratic Congress, former Deputy General Secretary of the largest opposition National Democratic Congress (NDC), Mr. Samuel Koku Enidoho, has lambasted the National Communication Officer of the party, Sami Jenfi, for attacking the party's leadership in Parliament, including the Speaker of Parliament. Describing Sami Jenfi as an absent who recently joined the NDC, Koku Enidoho wondered why and how he could muster the courage to attack the Right Honourable Speaker Alban Babin, the Minority Leader Honourable Haruna Idrisu, and the Minority Chief Whip Honourable Muntaka Mubarak for their role in approving some minister-designates of President Akufo-Addo. It was about 2 weeks ago that we heard that a certain small boy in the NDC who feels the NDC as his bona fide property, the boy who recently joined the party, has attacked the Speaker of Parliament and the leadership of the NDC in Parliament. He chastised. The boy who joined the party recently wants to be carried in a palanquin. He has no respect for anyone, and he says whatever he wants, and now he has clashed with the Right Honourable Speaker Alban Babin. He cheated. The Chief Executive Officer of the Atamils, however, applauded the courage of the Right Honourable Speaker Alban Babin for responding to Sami Jenfi and also for making it clear that he will not sit down and allow his office to be abused. Mr. Koku Enidoho stressed the need to build a healthy institution and a healthy governance process, and it is the agenda of the Atamils Institute to promote a good governance system in the country. As for the politics, we will do it, but we should not allow the culture of insult to take over the governance process. We thank Right Honourable Speaker Alban Babin for saying that he is not a speaker of a political party, but a speaker for Ghana's parliament. He applauded. He reminded Sami Jenfi that his likes, who are attacking and calling the Speaker of Parliament, Haruna Idrisu and Muntaka, as betrayals, to think of how Right Honourable Alban Babin assumed that position when both the NDC and NPP have an equal number of seats in Parliament. He, however, could not fathom in the case of the insult the life of Sami Jenfi and the National Democratic Congress ran on the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Alban Babin, when he was not the chairman of the Appointments Committee in Parliament. Moving on to other stories, Alote Jacobs on who should be Bawumia's running mate in 2024. Suspended member of the opposition National Democratic Congress (NDC), now a social commentator, Bernard Alote Jacobs, has said that the Dr. Mahumaju Bawumia and Dr. Matthew Opoku Pempe ticket for the new Patriotic Party in 2024 will be the party's best bet. According to him, he has critically observed the whole NPP party and he has seen the potential in the two politicians and their ability to break the 8-year cycle fielded in the 2024 election by the NPP members. Speaking in an interview on Happy FM's Epahua Dapain with Don Kwabnapra, Matthew Opoku Pempe should be paired with Bawumia going into the 2024 general election. I can see potential in the two of them. I have sat down and done a critical analysis of the two. The only person who can worry the two is Alan John Kojotre Mantin, but I think Alan should adopt Joe Biden of American style. The leadership of the party must quickly set in to talk to him to withdraw from the race, so they appoint him Speaker should they break the 8-year chain, or else what happened in 2008 that caused their victory is likely to happen. We are having some kind of political phenomena in our political arena. I've told the NDC that if they do not have somebody of Bawumia's level, they should forget it. If the NPP also does not file Bawumia for 2024, they will lose the elections. but if they bring Baumia and they get the Ashanti factor to back him. I've been watching Napo and his style of politics in his handling of the free SHS and the ministry. The guy is running mate material and the future vice president. However, the Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Efriye Akoto, who has been nurturing a presidential ambition on the ticket of the NPP, has taken his move to a new level. During the weekend, he initiated a private meeting with some top-notch power brokers of the New Patriotic Party (NPP) in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. At the said meeting, he made his presidential ambition known to those who gathered, which included some constituency chairpersons in the Ashanti region. Graphic Online has been told by some sources. Dr. Efriye Akoto, a close pal of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and a son of the late Balfour Osei Akoto, who was a chief linguist at the Mansia Palace and a prominent member of the Pre-Independence National Liberation Movement (NLM), has been interested in becoming president for some time but kept it to himself with the exception of close association who knew about it. The weekend's meeting in Kumasi, where he disclosed his intention to the top-notch party members, was reportedly held at the house of Janyame near the parks and gardens. Moving on to other stories, Freddie Blake gave me his blessing to be national chairman, says Chairman Wontumi. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party (NPP), Chairman Wontumi, has revealed that the national chairman of the party, Freddie Blake, gave him the approval to contest for the latest position. However, he, Chairman Wontumi, has an unfulfilled purpose he has to complete as a regional chairman. According to him, he wishes to remain the Ashanti Regional Chairman for more than 2 terms in order to break the 8-year rule of government. He explained to Happy FM's on the Epahua Dabeng show, I believe that when it comes to the national position, I am fit for that position and it is my turn to take over the national chairmanship. Freddie Blake blessed me to take up the mantle, but the issue is that since 1992, there is no political party that has been able to break the 8-year governance, and in the same vein, no one has been able to break the 8-year rule in the Ashanti region. So, it means if I break the 8-year in the Ashanti region, the NPP will also be able to break the 8 years. So, this is the time. All I can say is they should support Wontumi. While some have made their intention of contesting the regional chairmanship, Chairman Wontumi believes no one can take the chairmanship position from him, and they knew it. Meanwhile, he has called for the support of his contenders in the upcoming elections to maintain the unity of the party. The Regional Congress of the NPP will see executives elected to steer the affairs of the party. Personalities like Kwabena Owusu Ejiomi, the former Member of Parliament for Ejiso and Deputy Minister of Roads and Highways, Dr. Boris Badu, Chief Executive Officer of Boris B. Farm and Veterinary Services, Adenaho Kweku Appiah, Efija Kwabere South Constituency Chairman, and Eric Nana Ajiman Prempeh, Director General of NADMO, are all nursing the ambition of the Ashanti Regional Chairman. Moving on to other stories, NPP suspects NDC in fueling Baumia's presidential bid propaganda. The outgoing Northeast Regional Minister and former MP for Bakburugu, Yanyo constituency, Honorable Solomon N. Boa, has worry of all possible mischief and negative propaganda against Vice President Alhaji Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia by the opposition NDC. He believes that the NDC could fuel behind some mischief and negative propaganda from elements of the opposition NDC against Vice President and NPP government in the run-up to the 2024 elections. Honorable Solomon Boa stated that the personality of the Vice President and the fact that he might possibly be the best presidential candidate to succeed President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2024 alone give the opposition party a cause to worry, and that the NDC will leave nothing to chance in tarnishing the image of the Vice President and the NPP over whatever happens in the newly created Northeast region where he hails from. According to him, Solomon Boa, the chiefs and people of Mamprugu, especially the youth, must not fall for any propaganda coming from the NDC against the vice president, but they should rather rally their support behind the government of Nana Akufo-Addo to succeed in developing the new region. The former NP and the first ever regional minister to be appointed to head the new region was speaking during a courtesy call on the overlord of Mamprugu Nahiri Na Bohugu Mahami Abdullahi Shariga at his palace in Nalairigu, the regional capital of Northeast Region. The visit was part of activities marking the handing over of his 20th month leadership in the region to Honorable Yidana Zakaria, the new appointed regional minister to the Northeast region. Recalling the volatile nature of some parts of the region over the years, Honorable Solomon Boa disclosed that it is only when there is peace and unity among the people in the region that can bring about the needed development in the area, as being envisaged by President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo in creating the region. He called on all and sundry to converse coordinated support for the new regional minister as they did for him, irrespective of whatever disagreement that may exist among them, saying peace and unity was a precondition for accelerated development of every society. He urged the people of the new region to do everything possible to make their son, His Excellency the Vice President Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and the President, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, proud over their wisdom to create the region for them. Honorable Solomon observed that a new regional minister, Honorable Zidana Zakaria, comes with a lot of expertise and pleads with the chiefs and people of the region to embrace whatever good decision that he may be bringing for the betterment of the region as the president appointee to the region in order to bring about accelerated development. On his part, the new regional minister, Honorable Yidana Zakaria, who comes from a background of a teacher and an academic, bemoaned the poor academic performances of students of the region, especially in the recent released Basic Education Certificate Examination (BECE) results of students in the area, and promised to tackle the root cause of the problem in the region as a regional minister with all other stakeholders in the education in the region. Moving on to other African countries. Africa's growth prospects bullish despite pandemic constraints. Africa is expected to recover from its worst recession in half a century and reach 3.4% growth in 2024. In 2021, the African Development Bank said in its 2021 African Development Economic Outlook report launched on Friday. Africa is expected to recover from its worst recession in half a century and reach 3.4% growth in 2021, the African Development Bank said in its 2021 African Economic Outlook report launched on Friday. The outbreak of the novel coronavirus in December 2019 has taken a massive toll on Africa, hitting tourism-dependent economies, oil-exporting economies, and other resource-intensive economies the hardest, as well as deepening inequality. The African Economic Outlook, published annually since 2003, provides headlines numbers on Africa's economic performance and outlook. This year's theme, From Debt Resolution to Growth, The Road Ahead for Africa, highlights the impact of COVID-19 and government debt, offering mitigating measures to governments and policymakers. The continent-wide projected recovery following a 2.1% contraction in 2020 does not remove the threat of increasing poverty, the report said. An estimated 39 million Africans could possibly slip into extreme poverty this year, following about 30 million who were pushed into extreme poverty in 2020 as a result of the pandemic. The report finds that populations with lower levels of education, few assets, and working in informal jobs are the most affected and must be protected. Presenting the report during a virtual launch ceremony, Rebecca Arezki, AFDB Vice President and Chief Economist cautioned that Africa's prediction growth could be subject to major downgrades arising from both external and domestic factors. In 2020, government spending across Africa, the continent skyrocketed as countries strived to support their population during the pandemic. This has had a direct negative impact on budgetary balances and debt burdens. The average debt to GDP ratio for Africa is expected to climb by 10 to 15 percent points in the short to medium term, fueled by the surge in government spending, the contraction of fiscal revenues as a result of the COVID-19. This will result in fast-paced debt accumulation in the near to medium term. Although the average debt to GDP ratio has stabilized around 60% of GDP, recent debt restructuring experiences in Africa have been constantly and lengthy because information asymmetries, creditor coordination problems, and the use of more complicated debt instruments, the report said. Moving on to other African stories, African CDC reviewing guidance on AstraZeneca vaccines amid safety concerns. The African Centers for Disease Control is reviewing its guidance on a coronavirus vaccine developed by AstraZeneca Plc and the University of Oxford after several European nations suspected its use amid concerns about possible adverse side effects. The AstraZeneca vaccine was seen to be safe and efficacious, and we would need to review the data. We should gather response with strong science and evidence, African CDC Director John Nkengasong said in an interview with Bloomberg TV on Tuesday. The African CDC will be convening an emergency meeting this afternoon with all the experts across the continent to look at the data and what we know, and then to provide appropriate guidance to the continent. South Africa, which has Africa's worst recorded COVID-19 outbreak, first sounded a note of caution on the AstraZeneca vaccine last month, suspending its planned rollout after a small study indicated it had little impact on mild infections caused by a variant of the virus first identified in the country late last year. Several European nations fear the shot may increase the risk of blood clots, a concern the company says isn't backed up by evidence. While developed countries have raced to inoculate their populations against COVID-19, fewer than 500,000 people have been vaccinated in sub-Saharan Africa, a region of 1.1 billion people. Nkengasong warned that the continent will remain a source of coronavirus mutations if efforts aren't stepped up to keep the disease in check. If we do what we have stated, that is, the vaccinated at least 60% of our population in the next 2 years, then this pandemic will be over, he said. If we vaccinate slowly, it will take us away than 5 years to put this pandemic behind us, and we will be living with the real prospect of moving toward an endemic situation on the continent with COVID-19. Moving on to other African stories in Nigeria. Okongo-Iweala meets Buhari, others during first official trip as WTO DG. Newly appointed Director General of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, picked her native Nigeria for her first official trip since taking office on March 1st. She arrived in the country over the weekend and has since met the President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidency on Monday. She hailed the efforts of Buhari in ensuring that she became the first woman in Africa to become WTO DG. She also met Finance Minister Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed at a separate meeting. At the meeting, she commended the Nigerian government on the clearance of arrears owed the WTO and making payments on advance. On Tuesday, March 16, 2021, she stressed the need to embrace the digital economy to exit recession when she paid a visit to the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) headquarters in Abuja. The former finance minister, who was received by a delegation led by CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, said Nigeria had enough resources and opportunities to exit the recession. I think we have what it takes in the country, particularly our young people, to do the necessary, which is to move forward as to how we are going to create jobs and move this economy in the direction that will support our youth in the future. There are opportunities that can be used in improving trade so that our economy can climb out of this pandemic recession that we are in faster than would have been the case, she said. According to the WTO boss, the country also needs to embrace trade remedies and a digital economy to help Nigerians' industries. WTO, who WTO has what we call trade remedies. Without banning things, we can be able to protect our industries against dumping and cheap imports if we use these remedies. We can use those remedies as a tool to help our industries. Digital economy has come to stay and people are doing well there. We need to support our young people to make use of the digital economy, she explained. She added that this is a big task for the country and conversations must start in that direction. And also, the creative industry should not be neglected as it creates more jobs for the youth. Channels TV report. The CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, in response, said the local industry should be given the room to grow as it would create more job opportunities, given the rate of high unemployment. He also announced Nigeria is open to business in any part of the world. Here lies the stories for our locality. Stay tuned as I bring you the foreign news.
Hitzafrik Acting Club, UK. Advertise your products and services on Hitzafrik Radio every day of the week. Send us details of your products or services on the WhatsApp number and we'll give you a quote. You are still watching the Logo Ligi show on Hitzafrik TV.
You are still tuning to Hitzafrik Radio right here in our studios. We are transmitting live in Ghana. You are logged on to www.modernghana.com on the tuning app at Hitzafrik Radio. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at Hitzafrik Radio. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Now let's do some foreign stories. In the United States of America, 8 killed in Atlanta area shooting rampage. 8 people, 6 of them women of Asian descent, were shot dead at a massage parlor and 2 days dispatched in the Atlanta area on Tuesday. And a man suspected of carrying out all of the attacks was arrested hours later in southern Georgia, police said. The rampage began at about 5 p.m. local time when 4 victims were killed and another was wounded in a shooting at Young Asians Massage in Cherokee County, about 40 miles north of Atlanta, said Captain Jay Blanca of the Cherokee County Sheriff's Department. 2 women of Asian descent were among the dead there, along with a white woman and a white man, Baker said, adding that a surviving victim was an Hispanic man. In Atlanta, the state's capital, police officers responding to a call of a robbery in progress shortly before 6 p.m. arrived at a beauty spa to find 3 women shot dead, Police Chief Rodney Bryant told reporters. While investigating the initial shooting report, the officers were called to a second spa across the street where a 4th woman was found dead of a shotgun wound. Bryant said all 4 victims slain in Atlanta were the Asian descent. Baker said investigators were very confident that the same suspect was the gunman in all 3 shootings. Long was spotted in southern Georgia, far from this crime scene. After police in Cherokee County issued an all-point bulletin providing a description and license plate of the getaway vehicle. Long was arrested without incident after a highway pursuit by Georgia State Police and Cripps County Sheriff's deputies, who used a tactical driving maneuver to bring the suspect vehicle to a halt, Sheriff's officials later said. Authorities did not offer a possible motive for the shooting rampage and said they did not immediately know if the victims were targeted because of their race or ethnicity. A spokesman for the Atlanta field office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation said the agency was assessing police in Cherokee County and Atlanta. Moving on to other stories in Britain. There is a race for a cure. Britain's Prince Charles on Wednesday criticized those lobbying against coronavirus vaccines, saying they can protect and liberate some of the society's most vulnerable members. In a wide-ranging article for the Future Healthcare Journal, in which he called for an integrated approach to healthcare, the heir to the throne also took a swipe at those speaking out against COVID-19 shots. Who would have thought that in the 21st century there would be a significant lobby opposing vaccination, given its track record in eradicating so many terrible diseases and its current potential to protect and liberate some of the most vulnerable in our society from coronavirus, he wrote. The prince, 72, who tested positive for the coronavirus himself in March last year, and other senior members of the royal family have been vociferous in their support of the shot. Last month, he and his wife Camilla, 73, had their first COVID-19 dose, while Queen Elizabeth, 94, also encouraged people to get a shot, saying it did not hurt, and those who were worried about it should think of others. However, the focus of the prince's article published on Wednesday was his message that long-term health issues needed to be addressed by integrating science, public policy, and personal behavior. I also believe that medicine would need to combine bioscience with personal beliefs, hopes, aspirations, and choices. Charles wrote, calling for an open-minded approach to complementary medicine, whose virtues has long espoused despite criticism from some of the medical profession. In 2011, a leading professor of complementary medicine accused the prince of quackery, saying that he and other backers of the alternative therapies were snake oil salesmen who promoted products with no scientific basis. Charles said he had always advocated the best of both worlds to bring evidence informed, conventional, and complementary medicine together and seek a middle ground over the issue. Only then can we escape divisions and intolerance on both sides of the conversational or complementary equation. Where, on the other hand, the appropriate regulation of the proven therapies of acupuncture and medical herbalism is opposed, while on the other, we find people actually opposing life-saving vaccinations, he wrote. Moving on to other countries in Japan. Three couples have sought damages over inability to marry. A Japanese court has ruled that the country's lack of legal recognition for same-sex marriage violates the constitution, a landmark ruling for a marriage equality case, Chado News said. The Sapporo District Court on the northern island of Hokkaido handed down the decision on Wednesday. Chado said in the first of a series of similar damages suits filed by same-sex couples in 5 courts around the country. The three couples party to Wednesday's case said their rights had been breached because equality and freedom of marriage are enshrined in the Constitution, public broadcaster NHK said earlier. This is a landmark ruling, and I hope it will be an opportunity to build awareness that marriage is a right that should be offered to all people equally, said Masa Yanagisiwa, head of Prime Services Japan at Goldman Sachs, who is also on the board of campaign group Marriages for All. While a number of local authorities have begun to recognize same-sex partnership, Japan has made little progress toward equal marriages by comparison with Western countries that can leave couples without basic rights such as the inability to visit a partner in hospital. In Asia, only Taiwan has so far recognized same-sex marriage, though Thailand could make the change as soon as this year. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga told Parliament last year that the constitution, unchanged since 1947, did not eviscerate the recognition of marriage between two people of the same sex. The issue concerns the foundations of the family in this country and needs to be considered with extreme caution, he said. A more modest bill on promoting understanding of the LGBTQ people drawn up by a ruling Liberal Democratic Party lawmaker, has yet to make progress toward becoming law. The results are the latest indications of the bonanza that oil traders enjoyed in 2020 when the commodity plagued amid a Saudi-Russian price war in the early days of the pandemic and then staged a sharp recovery as the OPEC Plus cut production. Vitolo hasn't yet disclosed its 2020 account, and the final profit figure may still change, the same people said, asking not to be named because the information isn't public. The company may also use some of the last year's earnings for write-downs, reducing the final net income figure. Still, the trading houses expect to show a net profit of about $3 billion in 2020, significantly higher than the previous record of $2.3 billion booked on both 2009 and 2019, the same people said. Each day, Vitol moves 80 million barrels of crude and petroleum products, enough to meet the demand of Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and the UK combined. Moving on to another country of our foreign UK. World top oil trader Vitol smashed profit record in 2020. Trading house is said to have made around $3 billion net. Oil traders enjoying bonanza year on wild price duration. Vital Group reaped record profits of around $3 billion last year as the world's largest independent oil trader served the dramatic moves in energy markets, according to the people familiar with the matter. The results are the latest indications of the bonanza that oil traders enjoyed in 2020 when the commodity plunged amid the Saudi-Russian price war in the early days of the pandemic and then staged a sharp recovery. During the second quarter, when oil demand collapsed, allowing traders to buy cheap crude and store it while rocking in a profit by selling forward the oil on the futures market at higher prices. The so-called Tangono storage place saw the big oil traders hoard crude and refined petroleum products in onshore tank farms and even on tankers, which they turned into temporary floating storage facilities. Vitol is navigating one of its most significant changes in leadership after the death of a longtime chief executive and chairman, Lang Taylor, last year. Battling cancer, Taylor moved to the role of chairman in 2018, and one of his longtime lieutenants, Rizal Hadley, took over as CEO. Other top executives have also taken a step back from day-to-day operations, including Mike Lawyer, who ran the Americans business from hosting and left the company last year. David Franson, who was head of the Geneva office. Ko Hui Meng, the longtime head of Asia, also retired in 2020. The strong results at Vito echo a trend across the industry. Trafigura Group, the second largest independent oil trader by volume, reported record profit $1.6 billion in its financial year to September 2020, while Glencore Plate said its oil traders had also had a record last year. Among the big oil companies, Royal Dutch Shell, which handles 12 million barrels of crude oil and refined petroleum products a day in its in-house trading division, said last week that its oil profits had doubled to 2020 to $2.6 billion. As the independent oil traders, Shell told investors last year it had made significant gain thanks to contango storage plays. Here is the end of the foreign story. Stay tuned as I bring you the entertainment news. We'll be right back.
Hitzafrik Acting Club, UK. Advertise your products and services on Hitzafrik Radio every day of the week. Send us details of your products or services on the WhatsApp number and we'll give you a quote. You are still watching the Logo Ligi show on Hitzafrik TV.
You are logged on to Hitzafrik Radio right here. We are streaming live in Ghana, www.modernghana.com on the tuning app at Hitzafrik Radio. We are on all social media platforms, therefore don't forget to comment, subscribe, like, and share. We are live on Facebook at Hitzafrik Radio. Also, we are streaming live on YouTube at Hitzafrik Radio. Let's continue with the news, moving on to the entertainment news. Michaela Coel wins big at 2021 Broadcasting Press Guild Awards. Ghanaian British actress Michaela Coel was a big winner at the 2021 Broadcasting Press Guild (BPG) Awards. She won two individual awards, Best Actress and Best Writer. I May Destroy You, the series Coel created, wrote, co-directed, and executive produced, won Best Drama Award. The award scheme recognizes outstanding UK programs and performances seen or heard in the preceding year. The series follows Arabella, played by Kurel, who is forced to resist everything, including her career, friends, and family after being sexually assaulted in a nightclub. Receiving this from the Broadcasting Press Guild is particularly meaningful to me because this is awarded by journalists, the best of which scrutinize the topic, their opinion of it, and interrogate both the world and themselves as writers within it. I can identify with this particularly because I May Destroy You was inspired by my own experiences of sexual assault, stated Coral. In other news, Jackie kills suspense on Ghana-Niger collaboration with Omar Lay. Fans of Ghanaian Afrofusion and Afrobeat singer Jacqueline Echampong, stage name Jackie, can finally free themselves from the anticipation and suspense on the exclusive Jackie X Omele collaboration that she hinted of earlier this year. On 16 January, Jackie posted a picture of herself and a Nigerian star with the flags of both their nationalities as caption, leaving fans wondering whether or not they should be expecting a feature soon. In a new Instagram post cited on the Flip the Music Signy page from barely an hour ago, she finally announced that she will be releasing the remix to her hit song Forever, featuring Omalay this Friday. Forever is undoubtedly Nigerians' favorite song from Jackie at that moment, and it was simply the best decision to put on one of Nigeria's new favorite stars on the remix. The song is currently on pre-order and will be available on all streaming platforms this Friday. Moving on to other stories, let's champion high life agenda of BRICS losing aid to Nigerians. Dada Hako. Ghanaian high life musician Dada Hafko has called on all Ghanaians to own the high life genre as its roots are from the country. In a Facebook post, Dada B's Empire boss stressed the importance of laying claim to the origin of high life music and making the best out of it. The Yebewu Inti hitmaker, who has been one of the most vocal high life crusaders, stated, "At the end of the day, we must all know that we are at liberty to do whatever we want to do, but there must be a cautious effort to throw light on what we can claim as ours." The South Africans hold everything, but their light is still on Kwaito. The Nigerians now own Afrobeat, whether we like it or not. The Jamaicans, reggae or dancehall. The Americans, hip hop or R&B. And we? He continued, "We need to start getting up and championing a cause that no one can take away from us, the High Life agenda. Else, a time will come the world will believe High Life originated from Nigeria and not Ghana. We must stand for something." His lengthy social media post, which was occasioned by the massive presence of Nigerian awardees at the just ended Grammy Awards and its attendance commentaries by Ghanaians, clearly stated that Ghanaians do not cherish what they have. He cited how Burna Boy, one of the awardees on the night, employed High Life in one of his songs and engaging the services of a Ghanaian guitarist to help him achieve the required quality of High Life sound. When Burna Boy recorded his song Odogu, which happens to be one of his earlier works that built him up before the Grammy feat because he knew he wanted to make an authentic high life music. He came all the way to employ the services of a Ghanaian guitarist simply because he knew if it would have to delve deep into the genre, he can't do it without the help of a Ghanaian land. But ask yourself, those of us who own it, how deep do we go to get the best out of it? He further questioned. Here lies the end of this morning's news. Let's do a recap of today's headline. Bagman threatening to reject Akufo-Addo's 2021 budget. Aloti Jacobs on who should be Baumia's running mate 2024. Freddie Blay gave me his blessing to be the national chairman. Okongo Odwella meets Buhari others first during the official trip. 8 killed in Atlanta area shooting rampage. These and many other stories I brought your way this morning. My name is Abena Ahwinie. Stay tuned for more music and entertainment.
Hitzafrik Acting Club, UK.